Alright guys, here we go. We have 50, which are now resized, decapped, reprimed 9mm brass. These are ready to be loaded. The next step is to use our... What's the correct name for this? This is the Lee expander die, which will also be our powder funnel. The other way to do that, if you don't buy the entire kit, is they have these little dippers, and what you would do is you would seat it, flare the casing, powder in there, and then you'd be good to go. But I find that the Lee Auto Disc, that's what it's called, the Lee Auto Disc charger is a much better way to do this. So, in order to correctly install this die, you will raise the ram, just like the decap and resize. Screw this all the way in until it touches, and then you would, I have it set, you would then back it out a full turn. What this will do is it will bell the mouth of the case out slightly in order to then seat your bullet, which the next die will then crimp down. You don't want to bell it too much because your bullet will seat a little bit deeper that way, and it's unnecessary stress on your casing mouth. So to use the Lee Auto Disc, what you're going to do is this unscrews from the top. This is a little powder funnel. I'm going to set this aside. And then you will take your Lee Auto Disc and you will screw that on here. Before we do that, we need to check our load data. In the Lee reloading manual, I've marked the page for 9mm. We are going to use, I just bought this pound of Unique. I'm not going to quite break into that yet because I still have a little bit of power pistol left and I want to use that up first. So what we are going to do is we are looking for, let me see if you guys can see this. We are using, let me read this again just so that I get all of this right the first time around. These are 125 grain lead bullets. So what we're going to do is we're going to come along here and we're going to see, okay, this is 100 grain, 115, 124, okay, 125 grain jacketed, 125 grain lead. So then you will come along this column until you find your powder, which, hey, look at that, it's not on there. So I guess we will be using Unique. So let me make sure you can read that. For Unique powder, your start grains will be 5.3 grains. The auto disc we will use is 0.57, not to exceed 5.5 grains. Now, what 5.3 grains are going to give us is right around 1100 feet per second velocity from our round. If we go all the way up to 5.5, that's going to give us 1139. So yeah, that's not a lot of margin. That's only 0.2 grains from our start grains to our max charge. When you go over a max charge, that's when you're essentially creating plus P rounds. For regular target plinking and stuff like that, that's a little unnecessary. But okay, so let's see. Auto disc 0.57. Let me show you how to set up the auto disc. If you can hear my dogs upstairs, they're barking. I think they can hear me talking down here. So I'm going to leave that open. Oh, jeez. A book stand would be great for this. Or maybe that book on the iPad or something would be really great. Okay. You're going to take a little screwdriver and you want to undo this screw here. Make sure to hang on to that screw because it'll drop out. And then this case will swing to the side. This is your auto disc. Now this was actually set for 0.57, just like that. So I'm just going to leave this the way it is, and we'll see what kind of charge it throws. I might need to adjust it. So I'm going to swivel that back over. Oh, I guess I should show you how to do this. So what you do is you look on here, and you'll see it says 0.57, 0.53, 0.49, 46, 0.66, 0.61. Those are just the different charges. And so we're using 0.57. So you want to take that part and stick it right over this black tab here. Just like that. See? 0.57, there's that black tab. It just slides in just like that. Then this will swivel back over it. Put the screw back up in here and tighten it down. Be careful when you're tightening the screw down. You just want it just finger tight. You don't want to really torque down on this, or what you're going to do is you're going to crack this, and then you're out your auto disc. So, well, then what you do with this is you kind of hang on to your die, so you don't torque it while you're doing this, and you just spin this in here. A problem that I have run into is that right there. Well, you will run into some interference with your other dies. So it is best to get this facing out like that as much as you can, so that you can get your other dies in and out without a problem. So here's our unique powder. That power pistol I will just save and use for something else. And what we are going to do is we are going to pour some of this powder into here. We're only doing 50, so I'm not going to pour too many, or too much. You can always pour it back out, but just for the time being, I'm just going to put that much in there. And then we are going to set up our scale. Now this is the Hornady GS 1500. This scale ran me about $32, and I believe it was a great investment. Let me see if you guys can see that. Oh yeah, I'm afraid. I just kicked the tripod. So just turn this on. And I calibrate every time. I don't know if you need to calibrate every time, but I do. There are instructions on here. You'll just hold down mode on here. It'll flash cal, push mode again, and it'll say, all right, it'll ask for the weight. Set the weight on there. Then it says pass. Simple as that. So then we take this off. It's already set to grains, so we're going to put our little thing on there, and we're going to tear that weight out. Tear. So now it's reading 0.0. So now we're going to take a casing, we're going to set it in our shell holder, and we're going to see what kind of charge it gives us. I'll give it a little knock to knock all that powder down in there. All right. That gave us 4.5. Okay. So what that's telling me is, looking at this powder, let me give you guys a little detail shot of that if I can. If you look at that, the grains of the powder are really big. So that leads me to believe that maybe this auto disc, I need to go up a hole or even two to get the correct charge. Now I'm going to check this charge probably 3 or 4 times before we are done. Now here's the really sucky thing about using this Lee auto disc, is before I can swap out the disc, I need to dump that powder back out. And that, my friends, is really annoying. So, the one thing I will tell you is don't forget that this stuff that you're handling is gunpowder. And you just want to be careful with it, and you don't want to try not to spill it. Because 2 things. 1, it is expensive, and it is also very flammable. Alright. I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to undo this. And I'm going to go up 2 holes to 0.66 and see what charge that gives me. I might be kicking myself. I might need to go back down 1 hole, but I'm only going to pour a little bit of powder in there to see. So let me tighten that back down. Let me get this all set again, and then I will play the camera, and we will see what kind of charge I get. So give me 1 second.